Hello and welcome, my Taurus collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for, well, timeless essentially, but I'm doing them for October and November 2021. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions since 1998, author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, available on Kindle, link in the description box, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal, hardworking Virgo, that I am very here for the earth signs, particularly in terms of a life purpose read called a work, career, and vocation spread, a 3 levels of power spread, everything you need to know about this reading. If you are interested, the links are in the description box. Lots of links down there about 3 levels of power. I learned it from Carolyn Myss. That's why the videos are down there too. I don't have to explain them here every single time. As well as a link down there, booking a reading with Mal, if you would like to do one of these readings in a more personal setting, and how to set that up. I've been doing work, career, vocation reads for clients for decades, it seems. We are doing a 12-card spread to bang this out for a general for my beloved Taurians, my second house fixed earthers. So it's a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, like every other reading on YouTube, apparently. Check your other signs, right? Because in one of them, right, like let's say your sun sign gets more about your work, your moon, your career, your rising, I don't know, your vocation can play itself out any sort of different ways. There's usually one of the 3 levels that has leverage to help balance the other 2, but we'll see what hits the table. Otherwise, all the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, both feet on the floor. If you can, focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace about living a fulfilling life in your work, career, and vocation, or, if you like, your life purpose as seen in 3 levels of power. Please take a nice deep breath. And there are chakras involved and all of that. We'll see what flies out of my mouth in terms of explanation, but let's get the energy on the table. As I start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck, calling upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, and vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. As usual, the usual suspects, please. 3 cards, 1 for work, 1 for career, 1 for vocation for the Taurus collective. Timeless whenever they are watching this, but certainly focusing, at least now, in the 2-month period of October and November 2021. First in their work. What's the 8th chakra archetypal dynamic in their work? What's the 8th chakra dynamic in their career? That one came out nice and smooth for the Taurians. And 8th chakra dynamic for their vocation. So what we're looking at is your work, career, and vocation, 3 levels of power, but almost like 3 different entities within your energy field. Your work is your survival intuition, lower 3 chakra dominant. You got the detective there, which is interesting, very intuitive. In your career, you've got the goddess, so definitely a divine feminine energy going on in terms of your career, and your career is heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra dominant. Your vocation is 8th chakra dominant, so the 8th chakra you got there is the rescuer. So, you've got a wisdom family archetype, a feminine family archetype, and a healing family archetype. So we would call this reading a detective goddess rescuer, right? Which sounds, I'm not going to say common, but sounds like that happens quite a bit. So let's look at these. Your work is how you survive in the world, really lower 3 chakra stuff, like what you do, food, clothing, shelter. But not everybody gets paid through their work. I don't. I get paid through my career. My work is the clerical stuff, the presidential stuff of being a president of a company. The shadow attribute is what's being healed here. The light is what you're healing into. The shadow attribute, voyeurism, falsifying information, you know, like a detective that's on the take, right? They're not reporting the correct information. It, of course, has a slant, or let's call that voyeurism what it is. It's a little Gladys Kravitz energy, if you're following me, right? Abna, right? The snoop, the spy, very shadowy. They don't want anybody to know that they're doing it. That's how you know it's shadow activity. But the light attribute, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Now, look, if you are job hunting, certainly that would make sense here, because you really need to kind of be a detective nowadays to get just the right thing, particularly with all the online applications and stuff. You could waste a lot of time. So to really, the important part here really is powers of observation and intuition, because I'm going to say that's also going to be very highlighted here in your career as well, with that feminine family archetype of the goddess, but we'll get there in a minute. So in terms of really looking at the clues, stay observant, both feet on the floor, stay grounded, right? It's safe to be in your body as you go through this. You're a spirit in a body, you're an earth sign. So, you know, great powers of observation, but also the desire to seek out the truth so that you're really not wasting your time, right? And that's easier said than done, seeking out the truth. Seek only truth, however, is the sacred truth of the third eye. In your career, you've got the goddess here. Now, this is not about gender. This is about energy dynamic. But like I said, the second level of power is heart, throat, third eye, crown dominant. It's your career. It's what you hunger, what you thirst for. So the shadow attribute, exploitation of the female nature and form. Now, you may not be feeling like you're exploiting your female form or your feminine energy in that way. But think about that, right? Feel that one, the female nature. Well, what is the female nature? More receptive, more nurturing. Is that being taken advantage of in some toxic way in your career? Or is that something you're trying to use the detective to find your way through, right? To feel your way through that. How can I do this? Like if you're, I don't want to say oversensitive, that phrase has done more harm than good. Let's say you're an empath. Right? So working in a trauma unit, you could be very, very good at that, but might be a little tricky for an empath, right? So really kind of scoping and probing and finding out what is the right work path for me. Because in your career, what you're shooting for here is the feminine experience through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. This could manifest itself in any sort of role in your career, but think of it as the goddess energy in terms of creativity, right? The divine mother energy, the divine feminine energy. There is a god archetype in the masculine family of archetypes, its counterpart. So, you know, I always get the flash in my head when this card comes up of Marilyn Monroe. They called her a goddess. Well, but she was certainly exploited, but certainly she radiated that feminine energy expressed through wisdom in her own way. I mean, you look back now, you see that she pretty much knew exactly what was going on and played the game as best she could. Life force and sensuality. Now, sensuality is not immediately sexuality. You know, like, crushed velvet couch, right? Like, oh, right? You know, like a really lovely duvet on a chilly evening, right? That kind of sensuality, even, you know, the sense of taste there. So something deep and rich and wonderful here in your career is the vibe I'm getting off that. And in your vocation, the rescuer, this is problematic, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people don't realize they have the rescuer archetype. The shadow attribute assumes that the rescued will reciprocate. Assume nothing. Keeps the rescued one needy, a little Munchausen syndrome touch in there. But the light attribute provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. And I gotta say, these three put together, right? So it's like your calling is to rescue, is to just kind of put your love out there, serve, help, heal, no expectation of reward whatsoever. And it really can be coming from a heart, throat, third eye, crown, creative place where it lights you up. It is your divine feminine energy, regardless of your gender preference or any of that stuff, right? More that magnetic, that loving, that empathic. But that really scope it and probe it and needing your intuitive function, particularly the lower three chakra, the survival intuition, on point for this to find the proper way of perhaps monetizing it, which is a weird way to say it, but, you know, having, or maybe there is something going on in your work area that you need to be a little bit more aware of, maybe political, maybe social, that could play itself out different ways. But your calling is definitely there to help with no expectation of return, so let's keep going. We're going to look at the heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic for work, career, vocation. Daughters of the Moon Tarot, please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my goddesses of earth, the sign of Taurus, and the powers of the earth. No flippers today. Can we please get 3 cards in clarity for the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Sun, watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. No, if it was 1 card, I would have. Let's look at that detective in their work, right? 8th chakra dynamic of them really having to act on their intuition, really having to be wise about this, desire to seek out the truth, something in their work. And they've got the Chariot, heart, throat, third eye, crown. So there is a determination here. Now, I always say, it's just how I learned the card of the Chariot, the light horse and the dark horse. The light horse is inspiration. Oh, a desire to seek out the truth. The dark horse is motivation. What the fuck is going on here? I'm going to find out the truth, right? The carrot and the stick. So definitely a Cancerian card, emotionally moving forward. The Amazon, as it's called in this deck, even has a shield, but it is a crescent moon, the waxing moon. That's my Wonder Woman card. So I get that. There's definitely internal forward movement here. That desire to seek out the truth probably has got a lot of emotion behind it in the work sector. What's going on in the career there? Heart, throat, third eye, crown with that goddess energy. Kind of digging this read already. And here, okay, all right, we've got the Gemini card here, the Maiden of Blades, which would be the Knight of Swords. Definitely communication going on here, but because it's heart, throat, third eye, crown, inside, you know, the interior world for my Tauruses here with this goddess archetype, there could be a lot of information to be processed here. I don't know if a Gemini is directly involved. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But there could be gossip going on, right? Like in the career thing. Now, gossip can be about other people, but can also be things like industrial gossip. Like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen to the industry now that this and this and this is going on, right? Stock market stuff, right? Sometimes we call it legitimate news when really it's just gossip, hearsay, speculation. So, you know, that thing of being a goddess in your career, of the healthy divine feminine energy, not just the mother, the maiden and the crone as well, maiden, mother, and crone here, that wisdom and that sensuality. I'm going to say that there is a real focus on the third eye here about how you want to look at this situation. And this is just what I'm hearing. Know that there's a difference between emotion and intuition. You can have an emotion about an intuition and get them confused. Right? It's like you feel something's off, but oh, I don't want to feel that. So I'm feeling fear. Well, you look past the fear, you're feeling something's off, right? And I think with this card of the Chariot, moving forward, there is a lot of pressure for you to move forward, to find the truth, maybe even to manifest your truth. It's a wisdom family archetype in a wise way. So you want to do it, but you want to do it in a wise way. And yet, the Gemini card, you know, yes, this could be someone of Gemini dynamic, but there's definitely self-expression here, right? Gemini third house, self-expression, communication, all that stuff. But I'm really getting like a mental static, which is very usual for me, the Gemini energy, right? Contradicting voices, a left twin and a right twin, right? Kind of going back and forth. There might be some static in the air here that you might not know exactly what to believe if you're listening to everything that you hear and it's contradictory. So let's see what's going on with this rescuer archetype, because if they can walk into the rest of this from that place of the rescuer here, I'm just here to serve, just here to help, just here to heal. I'm going to act out of love with no expectation of return. Then they can really go in there, get the truth, and if the truth does not suit them, they can gallop right the fuck up out of that situation too, right? If it's not really what it seems to be. So please, my goddesses, what's going on with that rescuer archetype there in their career, which does feel like their leverage at this point? Yeah. Four of Flames. The Four of Wands in this deck is called Conflict. That there is a foot on the gas, a foot on the brake here. The throat chakra doesn't know what to do, whether or not to go in and rescue. I get this. Totally makes sense, right? If you've ever driven an automatic transmission back in the 80s and you went out, you had to keep it going. 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. It's a very herky-jerky ride. A real choice here. Whether or not to serve from this place, to allow the calling to come in and kind of rescue and then get the fuck out of town. And I think that's why the need for the detective here to really kind of maybe ask some very bold questions and get down to it, but to do it from a very intuitive place, not necessarily like the Amazon charging in. This is internal energy. The next 3 cards will show us what's going on in the external part of this. Yeah, so I get that it's almost like a spiritual conflict right now. It's like, everybody's worth our help, but to charge in, right, to support to others in crisis with no expectation of reward is tricky in a work situation, right? And I think that's where the sticky is, and I do feel like in the career part of it, there's some static in the air. You don't know really what's the truth versus what may appear true, because it's not the same thing. When the sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west, that's true. The planet rotates, the sun and moon don't really move that way. That's the truth. Breathe. Let's get this down into the 3rd dimension, please, as I call upon my gods of Earth, the sign of Taurus, and the powers of the North here. For the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and a detective, a goddess, and a rescuer walk into an office. What's going on with this detective with the Amazon on the end, right? Detective in the 8th, that wisdom family archetype. Seek out the truth there. There is this drive within them to do it, to scope and probe and get the info they need. And on the outer, they've got the 3 of Swords here. Now, I know 3 of Swords, we immediately go to heartbreak, and certainly I don't think the artwork in this card really goes against that, except that there are 2 people stabbing a 3rd in the bath, right? In there. So the Greek tragedy for you, the mythic tarot. But I think this really is about getting to the heart of the matter. It is an intellectual card, element of air. This is really going in and say, I want to know what's really going on here. Enough of the, there's no sense in dancing around the subject. A wound gets worse when it's treated with neglect. Thank you, Stevie Nicks. You can talk to me. What's going on here? The Amazon detective charging in to pierce to the heart of the matter. I don't think that's about romantic breakup. Sorry, not getting that vibe on there. Not with the detective. To get to the heart of the matter, the heart of the truth there. All right, this goddess archetype. Well, and then that Gemini really is that goddess being a little chatty. Maybe picking up a little bit on the social media. What's going on here and here and here. Like Gemini, butterfly going from flower to flower to flower. Maybe playing the role of the wise gossip here. Definitely not all of it's true. I can feel that. It never is. Please, what does this look like in the career? The goddess in the 8th, Gemini. Our third eye crown. Root, sacrum, solar plexus dynamic, please, for the Taurus in their career. Just the 1 card. Oh, well, 5 of Cups. This is my heartbreak card, but I think this is about emotional upset in the career. As we're used to seeing in the 5 of Cups or similar. 4 cups down, 1 cup standing. Something is revealed here. Particularly in this deck. It's the myth of Eros and Psyche. What happens when Psyche discovered who she's actually married to, right? They're married before she sees his face. It was a long time ago, folks. It's a good myth. But something is revealed here. And as a result, there is a loss and an emotional upset. So I do feel like in the career, particularly because it's a water card here with that 3 of Swords behind it, there's definitely an upset on the career front too, but it could be somebody's work in their career. Sometimes, like, all 3 of these overlap for me: everyday work, career, vocation, right? I guess you could say president, teacher, artist, reader, and mystic, right? I have to bring all 3 of those together, otherwise it doesn't get out into the world, or it doesn't get plugged in as well into me if I don't do the mystic. So let's look at the rescuer here, this 4 of Good. I have very fast reflexes, apparently. Rescuer in the 8th chakra in their vocation. Conflict, heart, throat, third eye, crown in their vocation there. So I can feel the 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. And it is a heart chakra thing because the head is saying, no, don't you dare. And the heart's saying, but I really want to. And the throat doesn't know what to do there. Do we rescue or don't we? So what does this look like on lower 3 chakras, please? The yang dynamic in their work, career, vocation. You got the Empress. You could consider this a goddess double whammy. You actually may very well have the solution here. This is Demeter. Oh, you'll love the great Demeter. You'll love her when you meet her, then you'll grind her up and eat her, and that's good enough for me. Also known as Ceres, where we get the word cereal from, the goddess of abundance. Now, we know the Empress, right? The mother, the queen, definitely a goddess, a mother goddess. And honestly, I'm going to say that though their couture is different, their stylist is the same, right? It's like they both got that same floral motif, if you want to go there. So yeah, I mean, it's a double whammy of goddess energy here. I would say, though, that your role here, the conflict may be between really being there for people as a healer or doing the work for them, enabling. I think that's what it's like, well, this isn't my thing to do, right? How can I influence this situation? It feels like that's the conflict here. But it feels like with the Empress there on the outer that you can do this in a healthy way, but it is also a lesson of being a master in your vocation. It's a mastery lesson, no question. All right, let's get your last 3 cards down, right? Matt Kahn Healing Mantra. What good is it just knowing the archetypal and the tarot dynamics? Let's get you some mantras to work on these. Work, career, vocation. I'll show you how they work. Please take a nice deep breath. That feels good. That feels very, very soothing. Okay, as I call upon the Ascended Masters of work, career, vocation, life purpose through the lenses of work, career, vocation, please, what are the perfect healing mantras for the Taurus Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading? We've got a detective, goddess, rescuer in play here. What's the mantra for their work? Detective on the inner, chariot. Sorry, detective in the 8th, heart, third eye, crown, the chariot. 3 of Swords on the outer there, definitely getting to the heart of the matter and a drive to do so. Their perfect mantra. Celebrating simplicity. I am more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. So to keep it simple. And I think that's why we're looking at a 3 here. Don't overthink it. Really use the intuitive part to zero in. Keep this simple for yourself. And it's funny, this is about life purpose, these readings. So fulfillment, I am more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. Because certainly the chariot doesn't want to carry, go in 10 billion different directions, pretty much wants to go in one. So your ability to really be the detective. Now, detectives usually don't let people know they're doing the detecting. There is a touch of stealth there, but it's almost like, I don't want to say targeted attack, but with that three of blades, the 3 of swords, this is getting to the heart of the matter. This might be talking to somebody. It may be very emotionally driven there for you to do that, as well as this might be an emotional subject going on in your work energy field, some way, shape, or form. So to keep it simple, let me get all the moving pieces in place. Let's pull out of there the extraneous so that this can go a lot simpler, and then we can do this in a much easier way, celebrating the simplicity. Let's look at that goddess and the career. All right, Ascended Masters. Goddess in the 8th. Gemini, heart, third eye, crown. 5 of Cups, definitely an emotional upset going on in the physical career world here, even if it's in the larger industry of the career that they're in, and they're gathering information about it. Lord knows with what we've been through the past 2 years or so, this makes sense. So with that goddess energy, what is their perfect mantra here? Embracing worthiness. I feel worthiness filling every cell of my body, and it feels amazing. I have done this mantra. I've done all of them. I've had, in December, I will have had the MatCon Healing Mantra deck for 2 years. Yes, of course, I use them in my own personal practice and with clients. That it takes a while to feel that worthiness filling every cell of your body, so it feels amazing. But there is definitely a movement of energy here, a divine feminine energy, in order for you to embody that a woman's worth. Kate Bush is just echoing. If you have not heard the song "A Woman's Work" by Kate Bush, then I don't know what to tell you except go listen to it. It's hard on the man. Now his part is over. There is a divine feminine energy here. That is discovering their worthiness here, right? Embracing their worthiness. I feel worthiness filling every cell of my body, and it feels amazing. And that would make sense, of course, then for this double whammy of the Empress on the outer, right? You really coming into this situation with that rescuer energy, knowing your worth. I would say before you rush in there, really focus on that know your worth, because there has been an emotional shakeup here, something revealed. You know, it could be a stock thing. It could be a change of ownership. It could be anything industrially affecting your career, or maybe it is in the office that you work with as well. Work and career often fused into the same thing. You know, like a doctor has to work at a you know, what do they call those things? Those little, like, pop-up clinics, right? The little doc in a box, whatever they're called, right? So that's where they work, but their career is as a doctor. You need some detective work going on. There definitely feels like that stealth vibe going here, but your ultimate intention here is to know your worth and be a goddess figure here in some way, shape, or form. Let's get that last card down for the rescuer. Conflict on the inner, Empress on the outer. Right, because is it appropriate? That's another part of the conflict. It's like, well, I really want to go in and say, can't we all just get along and just group hug everybody? But, you know, is that appropriate in this world now? Is that, how do I, so I have to do some scoping and probing, some detective work here, so I can really lead with my compassion and my sensuality, my divine goddess archetype in my career, and know my worth in that and the worth of other people, that they're worthy of that love. But how do I do this? How do I enact my calling in this situation? What's their perfect healing mantra, please, my ascended masters, for the Taurians in their vocation? Liberating love. I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give. And I know that you want to give it. You want to give the love in this situation. You want to fulfill this. You want to embrace your own love, your own worth, but you need to do that for yourself first. In other words, instead of making this about everybody else, well, rescue yourself. This is a very powerful mantra. I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give. And Lord and Lady know I talk about it enough on my channel. When you give yourself that love, when you heal you holographically, you're helping heal everybody. It's a fifth dimensional unity truth. I don't care if people believe in it or not, right? That's more karma than this punishment reward idea that's been handed down to us, which is really not what the original Sanskrit talks about. If you're really going to go and look at karma, it's about actions having reactions, not punishment and reward. I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give is really going to allow you, where did she go, right? To be that empress in this situation from a place of my calling. Regardless of your gender, you can be mother to people. You can be a queen to people. These are archetypes unto themselves that are really outside of gender. Although both mother and queen are part of the feminine family archetype. I've got the mother archetype when I'm with my cats, right? My boys, I'm mama, right? They don't call me daddy. They don't have the jaw structure for it. They could say mama, right? So I can understand there's some conflict here. Are you burned out on this? Do you need to give yourself that love and that care and that nurturing? Do you need to rescue yourself or rush in and rescue them? Now, I feel like in terms of finances, that could be, right? Because the Empress isn't just always about here. Let me give you the emotional abundance, as it might be. I've got the backing, I've got the finance, or I have a say in the finances, the money, the support of this. Perhaps this is a dominant partner in a partnership situation, where career vocation can play itself out in all sorts of different ways. But if you put these together, you need to celebrate simplicity, embracing your worthiness, and liberate love, right? That makes sense. Then allow yourself to receive all the fulfillment you're willing to forgive. Feel that worthiness filling every cell of your body, and it feels amazing. And then you're more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. This is doing the vibrational work. This is working from the 8th chakra down instead of working it from the root chakra up. And I think that's a good strategy here for sure. But honestly, I don't see overt anything. Not that it's covert, it's subtle. It's more magnetic than electric, even though obviously the detective in you wants to get in there and start asking questions and get to the heart of the matter. A little more diplomacy, a little more the Empress than the Page. Oh, that's a good way to say it. Let me give you the final blessing. Please take a nice deep breath. Yeah, may the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Sun, watching this video, receiving this reading, be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that their lives are more in alignment, all 8 chakras, work, career, vocation lining up, that they may be more fulfilled in what they do, that their financial balance of work, career, vocation, their passion, their hunger, their thirst, their calling, may all dovetail, bringing the best of who they are to this world in a time when they need it more so than often, that in their work they celebrate simplicity, in their career they embrace their own worthiness, and in their vocation they liberate love, so that they allow themselves to receive all the fulfillment they are willing to give here, and they feel that worthiness filling every cell of their body, so they feel amazing, so that they are more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain, them in alignment. They are the vibrational leverage in the work, career, vocation, office, room, workspace, that they may shine their light at full capacity and be the best that they can be, fulfilling their role in the divine plan for the well-being of all. What more could we ask except so mote it be? So it is. There you go. That's a work, career, vocation spread for you, 12 cards. Dig it. Want more? Subscribe. Did you like it? Hit like. You want to read my book? There's a link in the description box. Want to book me for a reading? You know how. Everything you need to know is always in the description box when it comes to Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, Virgo that I am, to my beloved fellow Taurians. So that's why I'm wishing you the very best and the very blessed in your work, career, or vocation. Whenever you are watching this read, my beloveds, hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.